Hello, this is Rabbi Dr. Juan Bejarano Gutierrez, and today I just wanted to do a quick video on another book that I've written. This is actually a few years old. It's titled The Rise of the Inquisition, An Introduction to the Spanish and Portuguese Inquisitions. And I had written this in many ways as a companion volume to Secret Jews. For those of you who know Secret Jews, the complex identity of crypto-Jews and crypto-Judaism, that was my doctoral dissertation. I did some modifications, added some material to it, and then released it as Secret Jews. And that's actually one of my best-selling books. And the reason that I did The Rise of the Inquisition separately was because there was so much information in the first volume, or in Secret Jews, that it really, I think, merited a second volume. And what I've done since then is I've actually put out other books that are really follow-ups, I think. You know, they're sort of independent topics, but they're still related to the topic of crypto-Jews and Sephardic Judaism. So, for example, after the Rise of the Inquisition, I have another book on the Sabbatean movement and the involvement of Anusim, or former conversos, and their participation in that movement. I also have another book titled Why Did Spanish Jews Convert to Christianity? And then I have some other material as well related to Jewish identity and so forth. But the idea behind this book was basically to lay out a brief but an extensive at the same time, so it's sort of a contradiction, I suppose, but sort of an extensive review for most people that are beginning to learn about the topic. Brief in the sense that it's sort of a general overview. But the idea here is very simple: to trace the origins of the Inquisition, the concept, certainly back to the medieval Inquisition, starting with the Albigensian heresy, and then looking specifically at the concerns from the perspective of the Catholic Church with regards to those individuals who had converted to Christianity, those Jews, and then the concerns that they had. So whatever their anti-Jewish sentiments were, which I think are abundantly clear, they had certain theological concerns that we can look at independently of some of the emotions, if you will, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is that from the perspective of the church and the perspective of the monarchs in Castile and Aragon, they looked at Judaizing, the phenomena of individuals who had converted, whether forcibly through force or individual decision, maybe economic or something of that nature that would have motivated them to do so. Their concern was their relapsing, if you will. They were relapsed converts, that is, that they would adopt again or readopt Jewish practices, or maybe never even leave them, because the reality is that most of the individuals who converted at the end of the 14th century were not really sincere converts. They were converts who adopted Christianity to save their lives, or following the devastation of 1391, the economic devastation, the tragic poverty, all the different things that they confronted after this terrible series of attacks on the Jewish community throughout 80 Jewish communities throughout Castile and Aragon. So the concern of the Catholic Church was that these individuals were going back to their Jewish practices, which in many cases they had never left. They lived in the same neighborhoods, they had the same family members that had not converted, etc. And so the Inquisition is focused on eradicating that particular problem that's regarded as a heresy. If you will, it's regarded as a cancer. And if you look at the document of the expulsion decree, the Alhambra decree of 1492, it specifically references the practice or the tendency of certain Jews to assist their converso brethren, their comrades, their family members, etc., who were Jewish but had converted, to regain their Jewish identity, teaching them Hebrew, providing them with kosher food, instructing them in, laws of Shabbat, etc. I mean, it's sort of very generalized, but you get sort of the idea of what the concern is from the perspective of the Catholic Church, and the fact that many conversos had ascended to different ranks of the church for various reasons was another concern, because then you have individuals who, from the perspective of the established church, are spreading heresy even further. So it's not just a concern over Jews who are lapsing from their, quote-unquote, sincere adoption of Christianity, but now they are in a position to promulgate their doubt and their, undermining of the Christian faith to those who are old Christians, Christians who are not from Jewish or Moorish backgrounds. So the idea, again, is the Inquisition as an overview. I think it's a critical topic in many ways, because you can see some of the sentiments there that are, I think, twofold. One is a concern that Judaism is a threat But also we see the rise of this idea that Judaism, Jewish identity, is genetic. It's something that's transmitted. It cannot be lost. And of course, independent, but also related to the Inquisition, we have the promulgation of the limpieza de sangre laws, the purity of blood laws that arise because there's a concern, there's a belief that if you're from a Jewish background, you have a tendency to Judaize. You're leaning in that direction, and so the concern there is to eradicate that. So in any case, check out this title on Amazon. You can look at my author page, Juan Marcos Bejarano Gutierrez, or you can type in The Rise of the Inquisition. And I hope to see you in the next video with some additional comments on the other books that I've put out in the last few years and some that have just come out recently.